What is going on, everybody? I'm here on another wonderful freezing cold Pennsylvania day in February, and today we are going to be putting in some nice box shocks in my Silverado. It's a 04 6-inch lift, rough country, and it rides like dog shit. So I was looking for Fox shocks. I kept coming up with the factory size ones, the 0 to 2 inch of lifts, so basically level, and I couldn't find any of them. Finally, I went on BDS's website themselves, and they have a good list of everything that you have. You have your 4.5 inch lift and you have your 6-inch lift. So I finally found the correct part and I ordered it directly through them. And turns out that was actually the cheapest way to go about it. You paid the price and they shipped free to a distributor. So all I had to do was go and pick them up. So I saved maybe 30 bucks by not having them shipped to my house. While I was away at work, I had them shipped somewhere local and I went and got them. So now, install. Okay, so when you order your Fox shocks, they'll come boxed all together, but obviously they come individual. So this is what the front shocks look like. Now I'm counting on these being the correct ones. They look about the same size, but I won't know until I get the I'm counting on these being the correct ones because I'm not 100% sure, but I mean, they do look like they're about the 6-inch for this generation Silverado. The rear shock, those are easy to change out. We're gonna save that for last. But actually, really, this is gonna be an easy job overall. It's not really hard to change the shocks at all on these older trucks with a torsion bar setup. They give you all the specifications that you're going to need. And they're also kind enough to give you an installation instruction guide too. All right, so we're gonna get on with it. As usual, I don't have room anywhere here. Time to move stuff for activities. Okay, so we're going to begin. The front is going to require 21mm socket for both the bolt and nut end of it, and the upper nut on the strut is a 15mm, and you have to hold the top with maybe a set of channel locks or something just to make sure the shaft of the shock doesn't spin. As far as the rear end goes, it's just going to be 21mm on both top and bottom. Easy. Okay, what we're going to do firstly, which I've already done a little bit ago, PB blast, so it breaks loose a little better. Up top too. Now we're going to break these loose. Okay, so for the top of the shocks on both sides, the nuts are on the frame side, and the bolt end is toward the middle, so it's just easier to have an open end wrench and then your breaker bar and socket taking it from the bolt side. My dual exhaust makes it a little interesting here, but it's manageable. And once you got the wrench up against the body, that's your leverage to hold it. Just like that. I'm gonna use a breaker bar on it for another turn. I'm gonna shoot some more PB in that, because since I don't have any new hardware, we're gonna want to take care of what we got. Now that we've got them broken loose and ready to come out, we need to support the body up just enough so that we can get the bolts off of the shocks without damaging thread, and so it's just flat out easier. Plus, when we put the new shock in, it's going to be fully extended. We're going to need to have all the room we can get. Now, when I normally do this, I have a block of wood or a cinder block, and I put it on my floor jack so I can get the body up. So what I'm doing, I don't approve of, but my truck's lifted. I know I can get out of the way in time if anything was to happen, but even with a shock out of it, the body's not really dragging that much. But I'm using a jack stand. Again, I do not approve of this. I use a block of wood normally, but I don't have one now. I go nice and easy. And everything's gonna be alright. Body going up. Also got to make sure you chuck your front left wheel. Already did that. And just a quick visit from Mr. Hammer. I'll try to pull up on the shock with my right arm. There we go. I'll put these back together that way they're nearby. Alrighty. And now it'll very simply come free. You just gotta lefty-righty to shock a little bit. There we go. Okay, so since my workbench is cluttered with a bunch of shit right now, plus a Trans Am is in the way, the bed's gotta be the workspace. So when you get the shock, what we gotta do is put the bushings together, which is very simple. So you have this rubber bushing, then this metal sleeve that goes inside it. So per the instructions, they want you to grease the sleeve, insert it, then insert the rod, also greased. So I have Amsoil marine grade grease in this, which is definitely plenty. And that's basically it, just enough that it'll easily slide. And then just simply with your hand, you'll be able to pop it right on into place, like that. Take the sleeve, same thing. It's gonna take a little more force though. Oh yeah, it is. Let me clean up so I don't grease up the new shock. Might actually tap that one in with a hammer. I'd say it's in now. And the exact same procedure on this side. And like that, your shock has a bushing and sleeve. Okay, here's a good side-by-side of what your old rough country looks like. N2O with your Fox 2.0. About the same thickness, not really too much different. This feels heavier than the Fox shock does. So, interesting. Because I'm a great fan of it, I never seized the bolt. Now we're gonna shove this in place. And from this angle, I have no idea where the hell we're at. There we go. I'm just gonna put these bolts into the back to the way they were. All right. So here's the fun part, recompressing the new shock so that we can get it up here. Even with the body lifted, it's fully extended now. It has all that travel. So if you got enough hump, you should be able to pull it up just enough and it'll seat, and then you can get your bolt started. Just cuddle up to the tire for leverage. Holy crap. I almost don't have enough on me. Well, we got her, boys. Send it. Now for those ugly as hell front shocks. Now on top of the shock assembly, there's going to be a 15mm nut, and you put like a pair of channel locks on the tip here, and that's how you're supposed to take it off. We're gonna see if that happens. The nice part about the passenger side is you actually have room to get at it in the engine bay, but you can still flex back the inner wheel liner as well. So that's the problem. It'll keep spinning. Get a good close bite. See what happens. So far so good. I won't lie, I was expecting to cut it. And by the way, I love ratcheting wrenches. Bottom of the shock has 21 there as the bolt side, and a 21 on the nut side. Damn, it's lifted, but not lifted enough. Now we're ready to pull the shock out. Hopefully this isn't a bitch to do. So what I'm going to do is grab the body, pull it up, and hopefully pull it down. See if it actually works. Oh, that worked with ease. There we go. Now I know I'm in trouble, and I also know that these front shocks were definitely shot because side by side, lined up, the Fox with the band still on it, it's just as long as that. Oh man, that's gonna suck to pull up and put on. We're gonna get her done. So in the little baggie here, you have 2 bushings, 2 metal washers, a new nut. So basically all we gotta do is orientate it the way it was on here. So what really sucks, like I said, this is gonna be a son of a bitch to compress by hand, because that was that shot, so this is really gonna, but we gotta get this off, so up it goes. Okay, how much will she grow? About 2 inches. Okay, making up the shock for the truck. Take a metal sleeve, a curved end this way. You take a new bushing, and this little extended end. This end is a little more smooth and curved. This will go down like that. So then insert into the truck, and then you do the same thing. So vice versa. Put that on, and then put our sleeve on, and then we'll put our washer on, and your nut. So that's how it's going to be in the truck. So what you do is you build it up to the first washer and this bushing, and you snake it up through the control arm into the drilled hole for the shock. And I recommend that you put your new hardware on top of the tire, which mine's behind the GoPro, so that way you can build it while blindsided. And there you have it. And now for the part that's gonna friggin' suck. Pulling the shock up to get it started. All right, so we gotta be fully prepared because this is gonna suck. So all we gotta do is get the bolt through it. So just have your bolt somewhere readily available. We'll go with that. Here goes nothing. All right, it's placed, and it's gotta pull it up a little bit better. Line it up. All right, cool. That wasn't too bad. The really neat part about all this, yeah, I had to jack the back up just to get the height, but these front shocks didn't even do anything. Didn't have to lift the body, didn't have to monkey around at all with it. Went pretty smooth. Well, 3-month update later. It's May 12th actually. So I put about 3,000, maybe 4,000 miles on the Silverado since the Fox shock install. And I must say, right off the bat, it rode so much nicer. Those front shocks were shot, those old Ranchos. And along the sidelines, the rides improved even more because I ended up needing to get ball joints. Basically all of them were pretty much shot. They had all been changed out at one point with Moog replacements, and I did the exact same thing, just the new version of everything Moog. I did the entire upper control arm. I did a new cam kit because I could not get the old bolts out. Ended up cutting them out, and the lower ball joints pressed in and out simply. The new design is a little wonky. It has like maybe a couple millimeter of a gap, and it seems to be throwing a lot of people off, myself included. But they're there. Truck rides great, much better. Every improvement I do to this truck, it ends up turning out to be one other component that is older and needs change. You can just tell that much more. Like right now, it's basically the steering. There's just that. It gets hard to steer towards the left sometimes, not all the time. So I'm imagining the steering gear probably has seen better days. So with all that said, Fox shocks were a great investment on this older truck. It rides great, even with the torsion bar setup. Almost comparable to the F-150 on the Bilstein shocks. It's very, very well controlled. Much smoother ride. There's actually some good rebound now. And they look real cool sticking out of the wheel well, so. That'll about finally wrap this up. I'm trying to keep videos a little more consistent. I need to get a gaming computer so I can actually load stuff faster, and a laptop at that, so I can take it when I go onto the rig with me, so I can make my videos there on my spare time and come home, upload them, be ready to go for the next session of whatever I'm going to be doing. So appreciate you watching, everybody. Hopefully this helped anybody out, and it was just flat out fun for me to make, and I like showing people how to do some things. Don't lift your vehicle with a jack stand like I did, though. Go get a block of wood. The only reason I didn't was it was 10 p.m. at night. Take care. Have a good day, everybody.